you're rushing out the door. The keys slip right through your fingers and hit the pavement. Immediately, you mutter, "I can't do anything right. I'm such an idiot." Think about that reaction for a second. If a close friend dropped their keys, would you ever look them in the eye and call them an idiot? Psychologists refer to this loop as negative automatic self-talk. These internal monologues operate as active triggers for your nervous system, dictating how you perceive and react to your environment. When you personalize minor failures, your brain processes those internal criticisms as objective facts. You tell yourself you're failing, and your biology responds by releasing stress hormones as if a physical threat were present. By passively accepting a harsh inner narrator, we accidentally hardwire our own nervous systems for anxiety. To change that, we have to look at how we can hack and reprogram the entire setup. For decades, society treated talking to yourself as a sign of instability. But neuroscience reveals the opposite. Speaking your thoughts aloud is a strategy a high-functioning mind uses to organize chaos. History's elite problem solvers consistently used outward self-talk to process complex information. Albert Einstein was famous for explaining difficult physics problems aloud to himself for hours. Modern innovators relied on this mechanism. Steve Jobs would take long walks around the Apple campus, having animated conversations with himself to untangle difficult ideas. This efficiency is driven by neural redundancy. During silent thinking, the brain relies almost entirely on one area, the language center. But when you start verbalizing, you activate the auditory and motor cortexes, processing the exact same information through multiple channels simultaneously. As this performance chart shows, that multi-system processing creates a measurable cognitive boost. Subjects who talk through complex tasks experience a 15% vertical spike in their performance metrics compared to working in silence. Vocalizing your thoughts acts as a biological tool. It slows down mental chaos, and it forces the brain to filter thoughts into a structured, logical sequence. Moving from a state of sharp focus to an emotional downward spiral depends on one specific neurological mechanism. It is a technique called distanced self-talk. Instead of using I or me, you speak to yourself using your own name or third-person pronouns. Addressing yourself in the third person forces a half-second delay between feeling an emotional impulse and acting. That tiny gap gives your rational prefrontal cortex time to override the highly emotional amygdala. By shifting your pronouns, you reduce emotional reactivity by up to 40%. Elite performers leverage this constantly. Billionaire investor Ray Dalio records himself talking through high-stakes decisions in the third person to guarantee objectivity under pressure. Building this psychological distance separates the thinker from the panic. It provides a clear way to manage emotional stress through logic, instead of being consumed by the feeling. Negative self-talk relies on you blindly accepting your harshest thoughts as absolute facts. To rewire that system, you have to actively interrupt the loop with curiosity. The first software patch for your brain forces a separation between raw, immediate emotion and objective reality. You implement it by asking, "Is this thought actually true?" The second patch bypasses your instinct for self-judgment. It tricks the brain into activating the natural, distanced compassion you already reserve for other people. To trigger it, ask, "What would I say to a friend in this situation?" The final patch shifts the brain out of a failure-oriented mindset and forces it to engage its forward-moving, problem-solving gears. You apply this by asking, "What can I learn from this experience?" Your inner dialogue is a trainable biological skill. You aren't crazy for talking to yourself. You just have to ensure the voice in your head is operating as your greatest ally.